something clicked in my mind and I started asking myself a question. And that question was, do I still want to kill Holyfield? It began in September 2015, and I was watching a food plot from a distance a few days before opening day, and the deer started piling in, and I was excited, trying to see what might come out, before the season. And here steps a nice 8-pointer, and he was definitely the nicest deer in the food plot. I'd never seen him before. And I said then, that's the deer I want to shoot this year. That's the best deer on this property right now. He's going to be the one. And at that moment, I just thought I was seeing a nice deer and it was going to be an exciting 2015 season. I had no idea what had just stepped into my life there, but something pretty substantial had. And it was a deer that I now call Holyfield. So opening day arrives. I'm hoping I'm going to see this deer Holyfield. But instead, later that night, here comes another one of the nice 3.5-year-olds I'd been seeing. And I get a shot at him, I kill that buck. Now that I've killed one buck on this property, I decided I'm not going to shoot any other bucks now. There just aren't that many relatively mature bucks in this area. I can't possibly afford to shoot 2, so Holyfield now would get a free pass. Got trail camera pictures of him through the rest of the year. I continue to watch him, continue to see him a handful more times, studying what he's doing and just hoping that he'll make it through the season so that I could be focused on him in 2016. Now the 2016 year is kind of starting up, and my whole thought process, all of my plans, all of my strategy is revolved around how can I hunt Holyfield this year, assuming he's going to be back. So that spring I planted food plots with him in mind. I made sure that the food plots that he'd been feeding in well the year before, they had to turn out good this year. I had to make sure they worked out because that was going to be key. I studied trail camera pictures like I never had before. So I made all these different adjustments. I put in the ground blind, I put fake scrape trees in the middle of my food plot so I'd have a little bit better chance to have him within shooting range. And then, when late August got around, I pulled out. And at that point it was time to wait for October 1st and hope that Holyfield would be back.
Alright, well it's October 2nd. Well, it's the evening of October 8th. Well, it's the evening of October 9th, I believe.
Well, it's October 20th, I think, or 21st.
Well, it's the evening of October 24th, and I'm pushing it more than I really was hoping I would. This time of year, I've been more aggressive in how often I've hunted on my main Michigan property. But that's just what my gut keeps telling me to do. I've been seeing Holyfield during daylight a handful of times while scouting, and I've gotten several pictures of him during daylight or right around daylight. So I'm trying for him again.
Next night, sneak back in, perfect wind, good conditions. Lo and behold, like an hour and a half into the sit, Holyfield pops back out. He starts coming down the field edge. He actually turns and starts jogging right towards me, so I'm grabbing my bow. I'm ready. This is actually happening. But then he slammed on the brakes and he turned and looked out towards the road. Unfortunately, this spot's close to the road, and something spooked him, and he turned and bolted back into the woods, back into the cover. I watched him for a while longer as he was back in this tall grass circling around with some other bucks, but he never came back out. And that just kind of then started this whole crazy week and a half period where I was hunting this property hard now, and the rut was on. I was seeing bucks chasing every day. Does were obviously coming into heat because it was just on. And almost every time I sat in this general area, I was seeing Holyfield, but just never close enough. I actually had a few encounters in some different spots with some pretty nice bucks that I passed on that in the past I definitely would have shot, but it was Holyfield or bust. I put in so much time, I put in so much energy and obsession trying to figure out how to kill Holyfield. I mean, every single day I'd sit and think, okay, I did this, he didn't show, or I saw him there. What does this mean? Why was he there? What wind direction was it? Why was he going? Where's he going? Is there anything I can do to possibly switch things up? And that was just what was going in my mind. Finally, we get to November 5th or 6th, I think. And again, I had a really close encounter with him. just out of where I'm allowed to shoot him because of the property line. But I couldn't do anything about it. A few days later, I decided, you know what, I'm running out of time. So I decided I'm gonna take kind of a weird swing for the fences and try this other spot that's basically just a field edge. So I snuck in, hung a new set right there, and I was pretty frustrated because it was a kind of a debacle. I got up in there finally, and not within like half hour, 45 minutes of being set up, there's Holyfield. But again, this time as he's coming out to the field, the neighboring farmer comes by and starts combining his cornfield, and back goes Holyfield. You know, in Michigan, gun season is just, it's almost the end of the season for bow hunters. So many bucks get killed, so much disturbance is put in the woods. That second day of the season, I actually wasn't hunting, I just so happened to be in the area. There's antlers in this tall CRP field. There's Holyfield. And he'd made it through opening day, which is by far the craziest day of the season. That was good news. I had trail cameras out there. I had wireless trail camera that I was hoping I would be able to pick up some pictures of him on. Holyfield had disappeared. When I scouted from afar, I wasn't seeing him. And that lasted probably 10 or 12 days. And at that point, I just kind of figured, you know what? He's probably dead. Late November at some point, I get the buzz on my phone and I look at it and it's Holyfield. He's still alive, the dream is still alive, and that changed things for me. A few more days pass, I see him again, it's December, gun season's over, he's made it through gun season. And something started shifting in my mind at this point. And I started thinking about that, and I don't know, it just, something clicked in my mind and I started asking myself a question. And that question was, do I still want to kill Holyfield now, this year? A lot of different opinions were out there about what I should do. All my friends had different opinions and everyone's telling me, well, you should shoot him because, you know, that's how the story should end. And you should shoot him because you deserve that deer because you put in so much work and effort. And you know, I saw Holyfield something like 27 times over the course of 2015 and 2016 with my own eyes. So this deer was always there or nearby and always in my head. But even though all like the rational arguments said I should shoot him now, I should finish the hunt, as cheesy as it sounds, it was like something in my heart was telling me no. Something in my gut or somewhere was, it didn't feel right. So I had this kind of in-between decision. I said, all right, well maybe I just need to leave it up to fate. I'll go out there with my bow. Even though I could take my gun, I could go out there with a muzzleloader and probably get a better chance of killing him, but no, I'm gonna go out with a bow. If he shows up within bow range, it's meant to be, I should shoot him. If he doesn't, it was not meant to be and he's supposed to live. So I did that for a few hunts and went out and had some great sits. And every time a deer stepped out, I remember dreading that it was gonna be Holyfield and like thinking to myself, what am I gonna do if Holyfield does show up? And when the night ended and he never did show up, I wasn't bummed or frustrated or upset like I had been in October when I'd been trying to kill Holyfield so obsessively. I felt relief. And that's when it kind of started hitting me, why? Why am I doing this? And I went home that night and I remember standing in the kitchen with my wife and talking about this, and she's like, well, explain to me what reasons you think you should shoot him and for what reasons do you think you shouldn't shoot him. And as I'm saying it, it just continued to sink in. It was that gut, it was the feel. I wanted to see this deer again in another year. I wanted this hunt to continue. In some weird way, I felt like he'd earned a free pass. He'd earned me stepping away. To kill a deer is a really serious thing. If I'm not 100% sure of why I'm doing that and full of conviction that it's the right thing to do, why do that? Why take an animal's life if I don't even know if I really want to? That seems wrong in so many ways. So December 16th, I decided, you know what? I'm not gonna shoot Holyfield this year. And there he was. You know, he came out at last light and I just got to watch him. And it was just really, really cool. I didn't even bother opening the windows. It was right at last light. I didn't want to spook any deer, so I just sat there and turned the camera on. And I watched Holyfield feed out into the food plot and nose doze and just kind of rummage around in front of me, about 60 yards or so. And I felt 100% at ease with my decision. it felt right to watch him. I wasn't sitting there kicking myself, saying, I wish I had my gun so I could have shot him. It would have been an easy chip shot. Could have ended it. I could have killed Holyfield that night. But I didn't want to. I wanted to see what might happen, and I'm really glad that I did. I don't know if he's gonna stick around. I don't know if he'll make it till next hunting season. I don't know if I'll find his sheds. I don't know if I'll kill him next year. I don't know if somebody else will kill him next year, but there's a chance, and that's a pretty thrilling thing.